7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
All right, welcome into the Vegas Squares podcast. We're sitting here in Studio A, which we're still waiting for Tony Johnson to visit Studio B. One day you'll get there.
Yeah.
I got the Tonys on mic 1 and mic 2. Tony Johnson, who you just heard from, and Token Tony. What's up, gents?
Yeah, same old stuff. Been pretty rainy out here in Vegas, but besides that, about usual.
All right.
Things are good. This is one of my favorite days of the year, sports-wise, is upcoming here this Sunday.
I was going to say, this is a random day.
No, not this day. But it's actually, people always laugh at this. I much prefer this upcoming Sunday, the Championship Sunday, with both games versus Super Bowl Sunday. I just like having both games back-to-back. I really enjoy the AFC, NFC Championship games. And again, the Super Bowl to me is just sort of a entertainment sort of, kind of thing. It doesn't, I enjoy the game, obviously it's good, but those games tend to get a little janky too, and it's weird. I prefer this is more kind of a real football atmosphere.
Yeah, fair enough. Last episode we were talking about Kyler Murray when we kind of ran out of time. I wanted to touch a little bit more base on that because something kind of hit me after we stopped talking, and it was more, you were talking about, you wouldn't be shocked if one of these teams with bad management took a flyer on them, and I kind of almost wonder if, and this is just kind of a thing, I kind of almost wonder if scouts and draft experts are overvaluing Kyler Murray in an attempt to keep him in football just in case he becomes a star. I know, that's kind of deep.
Wow, that is extra level thinking.
But there's not a lot of stars. You're not a baseball guy, correct?
That's correct. Yes. I used to be really into it. Now I know.
And I know Tony's not a baseball guy, really.
I'll follow it when I'm betting it more, but
So no. Okay. So
You're the only one.
Theoretically, how many superstars can you name? And you can name a few players, and I'll tell you if they're actually a superstar. And actually, if you know them, they're probably a superstar. How many
in baseball?
In baseball, how many can you name?
Probably do a lot of those, I would guess.
But okay, go ahead.
Clayton Kershaw.
Okay.
You have to think about that?
He's diminished a little bit, but yes,
Okay.
at one point he was a superstar.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Bryce Harper.
Yes. The fact that you've taken this long is my point.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of superstars in baseball. Okay.
Well, they're really bad at marketing their own players, but yes.
Yes. For whatever reason, there's not a lot of superstars. And okay, let's go football. Who are the superstars in football, Token?
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
You see what I mean? He can list them
You
off
can
like
name like
that.
quarterbacks, yes.
And those guys wear helmets
I
and
agree.
they're shielded, and you don't even see their face every time when you're watching them play. Point being is I think that the more stars that keep getting stripped from baseball and into football, I think the way to maintain relevance is to get every single person to be the star in your league.
They're good at marketing players, though.
Yeah.
They're really good at that. So is the NBA. The NBA is fantastic at that as well. So, yes, baseball has been poorly managed from the top for a while. I think that's part of the issue. And why it's the excitement and the fandom has certainly gone down as well.
So, I don't know. That's kind of one of my things is if the NFL scouts, experts, don't push him into top 10, top 15 status, he may go play baseball. And that's not what they want. Do you remember the last Heisman winner to go play another sport?
I assume we're talking about Tebow now?
No, he played football.
Oh, that directly went and played another sport.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
I don't think you'll get it. I don't think either of you will get it. But
It's not Bo Jackson, right?
No, Bo Jackson played for the Raiders.
Yeah, that's true.
No idea.
This guy did not play a single lick of NFL football.
I don't know that.
Charlie Ward played for the Knicks. Do you remember that?
I didn't know he won the Heisman.
Yeah, he won the Heisman with Florida State.
Yeah.
On the 1993 Heisman, I think. Anyways, my point being is that, yes, that was 20-something years ago, 25 or 26 now, but, you don't want that to happen. You don't want these guys to have options, especially even though they don't market their players properly, they definitely pay their players properly.
Right.
So I'm wondering if he's a little bit overhyped.
But the media, yes, and the media will do that, and they love the story. But I just feel like there's too many teams that would they're just going to take it. They're just going to take a shot. Because if he does hit, if they do connect, whether it's a 10% chance, 20%, 30%, whatever it is, if they connect and he becomes an elite quarterback, then the franchise rockets, just skyrockets.
Right, and this is the era or the age with the cap, locks where drafting a guy who busts in the first round doesn't set you back 6, 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
However, I will make a prop bet with you. You guys ready to make a prop bet?
Sure.
Yes.
Over, under, and obviously I'm going to take the over, but I'll set the line. Over, under 17.5 is draft.
Gonna take the under.
Yeah, I don't know much about the draft. I don't get into it that much. I know I've said that a bunch of times. I just think that someone will reach, probably, but there's 3 months and 4 months before this thing happens. There's a lot of trials and things, and they go to the combine and whatever.
Make a pack!
I probably would say the under, but I just don't know. I don't know enough. I would probably say the under. If Mitch Trubisky can go number 2 and Kyler Murray can go under 17.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And that's a bad franchise that took him number 2. That's the point. That there's a lot of really shitty franchises that are poorly managed.
They moved up to pick him number 2 too.
I think you're shitting on Trubisky a little too much.
No, I don't think I am. I think I'm correct.
He's not great, but he's not horrible.
So you're saying, okay, will Trubisky ever win another playoff game?
Yes.
He might, yeah. I mean, there's
I
a
will
lot of
say
influence.
yes. I will
Trent
absolutely
Dilfer
say
won a
yes.
Super Bowl. I mean, things
Trent
can
Dilfer
happen.
was on a stacked team.
That's what I'm saying. But this team could be stacked.
They can't run the football.
Well,
I was about to say they could get a running
I
back.
understand, but there's an
Maybe
offseason.
Kyler Murray can be drafted number 2 as a running back for the Bears.
There's an offseason. They could end up with a running back. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen.
Quarterback system.
Who's going to win their first? Okay, this one's for you, Token. Who's going to win their first playoff game? Stafford or Trubisky?
I would say Trubisky.
Will Stafford ever win a playoff game?
Probably not. As long as he's with the Lions, no.
God, he should never have been re-signed. Anyways,
I know.
let's. I got a little slate to talk about. That was just kind of
And you
my.
guys were all high praise about him too. And all that.
When was I high praised? I think Stafford. I think them signing Stafford was the worst decision ever. I said that immediately. I said that
You say he's like a top 8 quarterback. I say he's barely a top 15.
Are you kidding me? Have you not read my quarterback rankings before the start of the year? The only one I think I got
Before
wrong
last year.
before last year. I'll go back and find them on VegasScores.com. Before last year, I would say in my heart of hearts, the only one I got wrong was Pat Mahomes. I had him too low. All right, U2 Talk. I'm going to find this article. U2 Talk. Let's see. I'll give you the topic here.
I'm not talking before the 2018 season. I'm talking the 2017 season.
He was even worse.
I know.
All right, let's get this one in the way. I'll let you guys talk before I find this. Obviously, I don't like to get into politics, and I'm not going to, but I'm just using it for more purposes of the story. Shut the fuck up. For purposes of the story, Donald Trump provided a spread of fast food to the Clemson players at the White House, and depending on what reports you believe, that's what they requested. Anyways, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you, if you were part of a championship team, have a choice. Tony, since you like to eat a lot of food because you're fat and ugly, what would be your White House meal of choice?
Steak and lobster.
Oh, that sounds good.
Exactly.
Well, that would be
good combo.
good too if the White House government staff, or what was it, the all the cooks weren't on furlough at that point.
That's true.
So is this decision with like a team? I'm going there with a
Well, you
championship
guys all
team.
had to make a team, but you're the captain of the team. Let's just say that.
Got it. Okay. My answer is family style barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
I want the full.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I want the full thing. I want
Cornbread and
yes, all the fixings. Yeah, I would
ribs
like
and
everything and
pulled
like
pork and
if we can get this at like a huge
brisket.
table or maybe like a combo of 2 tables, and I would just want to see everything on the table, a full family type of feast.
sounds good. Since I had barbecue the other day, I had some roll and smoke.
Oh, great
I
stuff.
had Matt Stafford going into the season number 16 on my article.
Oh, okay.
So fuck off.
It's a good ranking.
I say that's
Team
legit.
seems
Yeah.
very
You guys want to go over this ranking? So let's.
No, I
let's,
don't.
let's-
No,
I'm kind of curious
no,
to see
don't do
how
it.
bad I got it wrong.
Ah, dang it.
All right. So, I got Rodgers wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
technically not, maybe. I had Brady 1, Rodgers 2, Russell Wilson 3, because, he's my lady.
3 overall.
Drew Brees 4.
He's got Russell Wilson over Drew Brees.
A breeze I could see as 4, yes. I'll agree with that.
Over Russell Wilson?
No, over Brees, he's saying.
What?
I had Russell Wilson over Brees. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't
but
necessarily agree with that, but
I think you put Russell Wilson
But
on the
Brees
Saints,
has
nobody
4.
stops them. 100%. I know you hate Russell Wilson. For some reason,
I think Russell Wilson is an underrated quarterback. I will say that.
he has an issue with Russell Wilson. I had Big Ben 5. I did have Matty Ice 6, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would say of all the people I got wrong, and even if I had him at 8, I had Andrew Luck at 8. So, I mean, I guess that's probably right around there. Carson Wentz at 7. Alex Smith 9. Kirk Cousins 10.
Well, we're starting to get to the lower numbers here, right?
Yeah.
You can't have Cousins 10 and Stafford 16. I mean, that's just not.
That's fair.
This was the one I bricked on, though. Pat Mahomes 30.
Oh, you put him 30? Yeah.
I had him at 30. I had Sam Darnold ahead of him. And Jameis Winston, too. I didn't think Pat Mahomes would be anything, dude. I really didn't. And you know what? It's been 1 year. He may not.
He's probably going to decline a little next year, but he's still going to be very good. He's got so many weapons.
He's probably going to be the MVP this year, though.
I hope so.
He should be, but Breeze is probably going to get it.
No, I don't think so. I think it's him or Breeze. They're the only two, but I think Mahomes is going to get it. I mean, 50 touchdowns. Nobody who's thrown 50 touchdowns hasn't been the MVP.
That's true.
I mean, it's Peyton and Brady, both MVP seasons when they threw 50 or more. So I don't know. I thought about this. Like my White House meal of choice, yeah, steak and lobster is good, but like I kind of want a kind of a branch off of yours, like the family style barbecue. But I want like a big Southern feast, like macaroni and cheese, almost like what KFC does, but not KFC. Like fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, big jugs of sweet tea. Like, that's what I would want if I was going to the White House.
Yeah. Good stuff. I'm in.
Sushi.
I'm in for that, too.
Not sushi. I like sushi, but, like, I feel like after, like, the fourth roll, I'm like, whatever. I feel like I could eat fried chicken and mac and cheese and green beans and potatoes all day.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I think there's a vast difference. Because, like, I could eat those all day, every day. Sushi, I eat it once, and then I'm like, I really don't want this for, like,
a month.
2 weeks to a month.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's something about sushi. Like, I don't know. It's good at the time, and then it's just
a filler.
It's just not after that. It's just, I don't know. Anyways.
It's a good filler, but it's a filler.
Yeah, so. All right. Kind of a bummer that's been kind of circling around here this morning before we started recording is Bob Costas is now out at NBC. And I know that doesn't mean a lot for the football world, which is what we're talking about. He does do Sunday Night Football, but he doesn't do the play-by-play or anything. But he's been kind of a staple on a lot of NBC stuff. I mean, the Olympics for so long. I mean, what are your initial, like, if you have any memories or anything of Bob Costas? He's not dying or he's not leaving. He's probably he's actually going to do more work with the MLB, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's moving from an up-and-coming sport to more of a, like you would say, a dying sport.
It's his first love. I mean, he's a baseball guy through and through. So I think it's just for him. The money doesn't really matter as much now.
Not anymore. No.
He's obviously established his quote legacy, if he cares or whatever it is. He loves baseball, and so he's going to do what he wants to do and what he loves, and that's fine. And he'll probably end up with some sort of length interview show on MLB Network where he sits down with the hot player of the day, things like that.
So if I have ESPN, I might try to grab him for Sunday Night Baseball
or something like that. Who knows? Yeah, exactly. There's still a lot of options open, but to me, it was kind of it had run its course kind of feel to me. I mean, the fact they brought in Mike Tirico to do that weird job that they have on that Sunday Night Football this year was strange. They didn't just stay with Bob, who's I think more of a known commodity than Mike Tirico.
Yeah, they do like a mid. He doesn't do the. Does he do the recap, the Football Night in America?
Costas is off. He's off all of the football
stuff. Mike Tirico does the Football Night. He does the old Dan Patrick job.
Yeah. That's Costas doesn't do anything with the NFL anymore.
I'm talking about Tirico.
Oh, Tirico, yes, he does all of that, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They essentially replaced him.
But they replaced Dan Patrick, too. I mean, to get Tirico's obviously a big get, but it's like, how many of these guys do you need? I mean, and Tirico's actually going to replace him on the Olympics, too.
Yeah.
So Tirico's getting a big pay, but I don't know. It's weird to get rid of Bob Costas. Who's your favorite announcer?
Wow, that's a tough.
Who's somebody that you could just, I don't know, that just makes the game more enjoyable, whether it's TV, radio, or whatever.
On the national side, my pick would be John McEnroe for tennis, maybe David Faraday for golf.
That's a really good
Jeff Van Gundy for the NBA is unbelievable. I would say
you a Tony Romo guy.
I'm a big fan of Tony Romo. Keith Jackson when he did college football.
He just died.
Yeah, no longer.
He hadn't done games for a while, but still.
You know, an interesting up-and-coming name who's fantastic, in my opinion, is Greg McElroy for college football on ESPN. He's unbelievably knowledgeable.
Ball washer.
And, yeah, that's it. That's why I like him, because he played at Alabama.
No,
I care
I'm
about
just
that.
saying he is a ball washer. I didn't say that's why you like him. I said he is a ball washer.
He's unbelievably knowledgeable about the in-game stuff going on, calling plays, understanding what's going on in the offense, and huge fan of Greg McElroy. I think he is one of the best doing it right now already. Huge fan of him. I've been a fan now the last year and a half or so. He goes on with some of the guys like Stanford Steve and such to discuss the betting side of it too, and he knows quite a bit. It's pretty awesome.
Fair enough. What about you, Token?
For locally growing up in Detroit, of course, Ernie Harwell. That's big name all around in baseball. Nationally, I'm a big fan of Faraday for sure. I really like him on golf, which is what Costas was besides the Olympics for me. I really liked his golf coverage for the US
golf
Open.
coverage. He was awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's actually I always liked listening to Jerry Remy for Red Sox games. I actually listened to a lot more Red Sox games than I've watched. As weird as that sounds with TV and my age and my era.
Baseball, I prefer to listen on radio, actually.
I've listened to more Red Sox games than I've probably watched, which is weird. Or I've watched a game and put it on mute. But Jerry Remy, he's on TV now. He's on NESN, but which is actually he's the reason actually for 1 year last year actually that I bought the MLB package. And the only reason I'm not doing it is because of working nights and trying to watch MLB is really tough in the Pacific time zone. But I actually spent over $200 just to listen to Jerry Remy on TV.
Hey, that's fair.
But actually, there's a very underrated, also at Devil Rays, the TV guy for the Devil Rays when I was a kid, his name is Dwayne Stats. He's actually still the TV guy there. He used to be with Joe McGrain. You remember the catcher Joe McGrain? If you watched baseball back in the day.
No, I don't remember.
Terrible hitter.
Was the one
Average
that were the
catcher,
Devil Rays?
but he'd fight the hell out of you. He was always getting in fights. No, he actually caught for the Reds, Cincinnati Reds. But
That's probably why I don't know.
he's like Ryan Reeves. Like he offensively provided next to nothing, and he could fight.
He was just a body on the team that was a goon.
Yeah, well, but he was like the equivalent of a goon on a baseball team. But
Hey, every team needs a goon.
nationally, it's funny. I love, and I know I'm in the minority. I like listening to Joe Buck.
Oh,
I like it.
wow.
But on the flip side, I hate listening to Troy Aikman. He's terrible. I fucking hate Troy. But I like Tony Romo too as well. I like Tony Romo, his insight, and
Yeah, I do like Romo as an announcer too.
who does he do his with?
Jim Nance.
Jim Nance. Thank you. I couldn't think of the. But I've never been a big Jim Nance fan, even though he does some pretty good. He does good work with golf too.
He's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
having to listen to him for the Masters and just this, all
He
this
seems like he's full of
traditional,
himself.
he's full of everything in regards to
Just
that.
put on Faraday.
Yes, exactly. Let's have some entertainment
Put
and
on
fun.
Dottie Pepper and follow her around.
Dottie, yes. Roger Maltby. I mean, like, just guys that have a good time and fun with it. And
Yeah.
Frank Nobilo on the Golf Channel. I know this is not a Golf Central product. I mean, he's unbelievably awesome.
Yeah.
People like that are just...
Hard to come by, yeah.
Yeah, and golf and tennis. I mean, tennis itself, too. It's amazing how the individual sports, there's so many great commentators.
Yeah.
With so many
Matt
of...
McEnroe for tennis.
Well,
is
because,
good.
you know,
Old McEnroe's really,
The national
fantastic.
guys
Yeah.
can't be everywhere. So, you're going to have niche guys.
Right, and in the individual sports, there's only probably a few that are great, and they're all centralized on the main network. So I mean, I get it that that's sort of what it is, but yeah, it's there's a lot of good ones in those sports, and I think that college football has quite a few. Brent Musburger, when he was doing play-by-play, I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
And then he got kind of too old and not good, but that's fine. Like Vernon Lundquist, same thing. He also got way too old. To be able to do it properly.
Do you remember when Monday Night Football had Mike Patrick? Who else was in the booth with
Dan Deerdorf?
Dan Deerdorf, yeah, and there was one other guy, and they were just like it was like your grandfather just telling you about football.
Who, Mike Patrick you're talking about?
Yeah,
No, I was not a fan of him.
no, Mike Patrick,
No.
Dan Deerdorf, and I forget the other guy. But then obviously, I mean,
Still Frank Gifford then, or no?
no,
Okay.
no,
All right.
wasn't that old, no.
All right. Joe Theismann maybe was in the booth.
I think Joe
then?
Theismann maybe in the booth. Yeah, you're right.
He was bad too.
Yeah, he was not great. But
I
Mike
disliked
Patrick
that.
and Dan Deerdorf were like your
You like
scruffy
those
old
guys?
grandpa. I don't know if I liked it necessarily. I just felt
Durdorf had an old school feel, certainly.
sometimes you just feel like the person talking to you is just I don't know if it's a can do no wrong attitude, but everything they say it just makes you feel good.
Okay.
And it's just when you talk. When you have a guy talk to you, some of them now you feel like some of them are robotic, and that's some of the younger guys or some of the guys, and then you feel like some of the guys, like honestly, like everybody, a lot of people like him, but Dan Schulman feels like he's just a smug asshole when he calls a game. I don't get the good vibe when he calls a game.
Okay. I don't get a lot of them because I don't do a lot of college basketball, and I know that's where he's more centralized.
And he used to be a baseball guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I don't know about the college basketball, but when he did baseball, I just felt like he just had this smug attitude. And I feel like, didn't he do 1 year with Gruden?
He did.
On
That
one
first
year
year, yes. He did not do very well.
He did not.
No, he did not. I
just
was
never-
going to bring that up, actually. Yeah, he wasn't that good.
I've never gotten the good vibes from Dan Schulman.
A lot of people didn't.
And there's some of them you just don't you just don't feel good when they call a game and that's why it was funny because everybody's hates Joe Buck and I'm just like I don't know I don't feel like I do when like Dan Deerdorf and Mike Patrick are, and I definitely don't feel like when Joe Buck calls a game it's not like when Pat Summerall and John Madden called a game.
Right.
Like when Pat Summerall and John Madden, it felt like two drinking buddies got together and they're sitting at a bar, but that bar's located midfield.
Summerall was really, really good. He was really the
Before
main
he started
underrated
losing
guy.
it.
Well, yeah, of course. He was a drunk, and he lost it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But no, I'm saying, because you can't say the same with Vern Lundquist, too, who was also really good, and then, he just got... He just wasn't good.
Deteriorated.
Yeah, he deteriorated, yeah. But, no, I agree with you. I think Pat Summerall never got his full due either. It was always, Madden sort of taking, I guess, the main portion there. But, yeah, they were both... extremely good for what they did at the time, no question about that. Marv Albert, has always been, I think, a very good commentator, especially for the NBA.
Marv Albert.
Guys like that is.
Chick Hearn was. Everybody always talks about him. I don't know too much about him, but he was obviously the Lakers, big broadcaster.
Yeah, I didn't get to hear a lot about him. I'm just kind of staying with the national guys more so than anything else. But
yeah, I mean, you talk about two guys in one city. You have Chick Hearn and you have Vin Scully.
yes,
I mean, I heard a lot of Vin Scully. I remember when Vin Scully. I bought my first baseball video game. It was like MLB 98. Ripken was on the cover, and Vin Scully did all of the voice.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's
Wow, what a thing.
And I didn't know who he was really because I was like 10 years old at that point in time. But yeah, I remember Vin Scully just loving his voice. It was crazy.
Yeah,
But
was
I
very
mean,
good.
yeah, national guys nowadays, with a lot of these companies, you have to be objective. And that's what makes some of the local guys great, though. They were objective, or they were subjective to the point where even sometimes they'd even shit on their own team.
If you got a good one, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm trying to think of who the hell it was. Deckerhoff, I forget his first name. He was the Bucks radio guy. I think he's still the Bucks radio guy. He was the Florida State guy too. And I remember one time I was listening on the radio, and he goes, "These goddamn Bucks can't play worth a damn. They should just get rid of the whole lot of them." And it reminds me of the guy from Santa Fe when he's like, "Just fire the whole bunch of them." Anyways, but it's just like everybody kind of has different style. Like I said, I know I'm in the minority with Joe Buck, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who fucking hate listening to Tony Romo.
Sure, there's a few out there, yeah.
A few. Yeah, I don't think there's a ton. His rating is
Most of them are
ratings
probably
really
Cowboy
good.
fans.
He tests well, but Joe Buck tests well too. So I mean,
Yeah, he wouldn't be the number one guy if he didn't. Yeah.
exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, do you like Joe Buck?
Towards the no on that.
What is the Super Bowl on this year? Is it on Fox or CBS? Or
CBS.
so that means Romo's going to get that call. Mm-hmm. Romo and Nance. Mm-hmm. So that'd be bad. That won't be bad.
That'll be fine.
So, anyways, what else is going on? Anything else going on sports world? I know that I want to talk about this, but I know I'll go off the rails.
Oh, I was hoping we would get there. Here it is.
All right, actually, I'm not going to go off the rails. I'm actually kind of excited about this because if I recall, just from when I've been following UCF football, I can't recall a transfer of this magnitude that has wanted to go to UCF and has chosen UCF over what allegedly is two top-tier programs in Oklahoma and Penn State. Now, if you believe that he was looking at those, I don't know, whatever. But the fact that they've been reported that he was looking, whether they were looking at him, but that Brandon Wimbush is going to UCF, and as on Twitter, at least a lot of fans don't seem to care because they're like Daryl Mack or death. And I mean, look, I'm going to be an honest fan. Daryl Mack's an average quarterback right now. He's a redshirt freshman. He's got a lot of growing to do, and he's wildly inaccurate. However, he's fast. He knows how to carry the football. Well, in comes Brandon Wimbush, who is fast, knows how to carry the football, and is also wildly inaccurate.
But we've seen him wildly inaccurate for multiple seasons already. We have not seen Mac that way. So I think the thought is that it's his first year as a quarterback, and maybe we'll see a lot of improvement. Whereas Wimbush, we think we might have already seen the grade. By then.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. I'm not a big Brandon Wimbush guy. I'll admit that. I think they were very fortunate to win some of the games that he started this year.
My question is, and let's get a little real. I mean, the American is not the SEC. The American is not the Big Ten.
Sure.
Maybe 50% completion rate out of Brandon Wimbush, and his TD to interception ratio could be better in the American.
Oh, no doubt. He could be a very good quarterback for UCF. I'm not saying that is not possible. Of course, yeah. It's definitely a very good transfer, and a transfer you should be happy about. I'm not trying to rain on the parade at all here. I just don't think he's like a massive, beyond crazy game changer, especially when you have a quarterback with a load of talent who, unfortunately, as you said, was not a great passer this year, but it was his first season, so who knows what you're going to get, but he's certainly a very talented player. I don't think there's any question about that.
Yeah, it's just curiosity.
Good problem to have. You have very talented quarterbacks. It's a great thing to have. So
yeah, I mean, and if Penn State's a real thing, I mean, McSorley is obviously gone, and I don't know what they have in the cupboard there. I mean, you would know. You're the college football guy.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of transition. They just signed a 4-star out of New York, I think. Actually plays out of the Bronx, weirdly enough. But he's would be a true freshman per se. And they don't have much behind. They were actually in spring camp. I remember they were between a couple of guys for the backup role. They didn't actually have a clear-cut sort of secondary person behind McSorley. There was a lot of. Remember, they weren't able to recruit all that well once McSorley was cemented in as one of those deals. So
yeah,
Penn State actually, when I had read that seemed to make a lot of the sense, especially with the Franklin style offense that would have been there. Oklahoma, especially when they were looking, and Jalen Hurts ends up there, and I think Austin Kendall can be probably a pretty decent player. That one seemed to be a stretch, but Penn State thing. That's the one I thought made a whole lot of sense. But yeah, where what kind of numbers and how good can he look? Token, do you think at a place like Penn State versus UCF?
I mean, I think they know what they could have expected out of him, and I'm kind of surprised he picked UCF. I mean, I guess they made him like a kind of side deal, like prove yourself and you'll be the starter.
That's the question, is because it's not a prove yourself. I mean, he has 1 year. This is make or break. It makes me wonder if Heupel and the staff said, look, our faith in Mac to develop, unless something lightning in a bottle changes, Mackenzie Milton ain't coming back.
Right.
And, we're on the cusp of this. We can't fall back. We can't fade back into oblivion like Boise State kind of did. Like, we need to jump forward like TCU did, take advantage of anything and everything that comes our way. And while Mackenzie Milton's gone, Wimbush may give us the better chance to do that, because now not only are they being recognized for what they do on the field and obviously what they do on Twitter and et cetera, and what the athletic director does, now they're realizing, because most college football fans who pay attention to college football, maybe not quite as much as you do, but maybe about what I do, know who Brandon Wimbush is. And, now if Brandon Wimbush has a phenomenal season or a good season, he kind of almost puts UCF on his back and keeps the relevance running, the relevant train running. Because, I mean, let's put it this way. If they go undefeated again,
Wow.
they're at least playing in the New Year's Six Bowl. Let's not sugarcoat that. They're playing in the New Year's Six Bowl, which
bare minimum.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum. If they go undefeated again in a year where 3 teams don't go undefeated, like last year, I mean, I think this is
never know.
This has got to be
3 in a row would be.
You've got to give them the shot. I mean, if you don't, then you're basically coming out and saying we're corrupt and we don't give a shit. We'll do whatever we want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3-0 would be tough to say no to. Yeah.
Or you can force the NCAA's hand and say, look, you P5 motherfuckers need to start at least putting them on your schedule, or they deserve home and homes, not these 2-1 rip-off bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, they're not going to. And again, the committee can absolutely do what they want. And there's another 8-year locked-in contract before we even discuss expansion, which is funny because every year we're going to discuss expansion, and every year apparently if there's this contract, then nothing can be broken. But I guess contracts can be broken, so that'll be an interesting kind of a thought. Because,
There's loopholes around contracts and all that.
yeah, I mean, if you're telling me it's ironclad that we can't talk expansion, then I've never had any of them, or I've never seen any of them come out and say, stop talking about it because, well, that's what they want us to do is talk about it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's the only, because at first glance I'm like, well, Daryl Mack's there. McKenzie might come back. Why would he transfer where he has to compete? Why? The same thing with Jalen Hurts. He's going to Oklahoma. Why are these guys going where they have to compete when you can go somewhere? And I would say there's probably, let's say, if there's 130 FBS teams, I'd say 60 to 70 of them are going to give you the starting job.
Right.
Why are you going to compete? I understand, he's a competitor. I don't buy that notion for a second. In today's age where any team can get enough exposure to get you to the NFL, why are you going to places where you got to compete? And Jalen Hurts is more of a head scratcher than Wimbush because I think, like you said, if you believe, what's his name? Kendall?
Austin Kendall, yeah.
Austin Kendall is just, the next man up. Jalen Hurts, he's just okay. He doesn't strike me as an NFL prospect. So go play another season. I don't know, pick a school. Oregon State.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, nobody wants to do that. That's a disaster.
I mean,
man.
I don't know people's situations, but I mean, go play at Kentucky. Go play at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go to the SEC, but go play at Purdue. Go play at
Pitt.
Florida Atlantic. Go play at Florida International. Go play he could play at USF next year, Go play at teams that you could probably. I would imagine one of the 130 teams would have said, "Look, dude,
Sure.
Jalen, come here. You can start. There's not even a competition."
Right.
And that's not Oklahoma.
But there's not a lot of national exposure, though. We know we're going to get some definite national exposure with UCF now. I don't think there's any question about that. That for the group of 5 teams, if we want to make the comparison, they're certainly, if not number one or number 2 with amount of exposure at least into this next upcoming season.
Right, but I think Wimbush gets that. Hey, we'll come here, we'll get you the starting job. I don't think Jalen Hurts gets that same deal.
Yeah,
I don't think Jalen Hurts fits the high-flying running offense that Heupel runs. I mean, you need a mobile quarterback who can throw the ball down the field because basically they run a stretch vert offense. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Jalen provides that. But
no, he wouldn't be a good fit. I agree.
But he could go to Arizona State. I don't know their quarterback situation. Go team up with Herm.
There you go.
Or maybe he didn't have that many offers. Maybe he didn't really have anything.
Hard to know. Yeah, no, I'm not speaking because I don't know enough. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things it's tough because we're not there, with all this stuff. Maybe this was what he deemed the best option. And, if he does, maybe the fact is if you are the starter at Oklahoma with, one of the biggest up-and-coming coaches we've seen, and now in many years who's talked about being, a big-time NFL coach, that could mean a lot. The last 2 Heisman winners, I mean, it could be a thing that is maybe the big draw. For him, I don't know.
He has to believe or was given information that he's going to be a legitimate competitor.
I would expect so. I would expect you wouldn't make this decision without knowing.
Can't transfer again. You're out of eligibility.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been a lot of things said in that regard. No question.
So,
no doubt.
Anyways, all right. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. Unless you guys got anything else going on.
Oh, I think we've covered everything on the list, which is very good. Yes.
Yeah, it's always good to cover everything on the list.
It is good. That's definitely good. But no, Ace, these 2 games, I know we talked about this on the previous podcast, and I still, even during down times here, the last couple of days, I'm trying to figure out. There's got to be a way. There's got to be something I'm missing in these 2 games. Like you got to come up with something. I mean, you're good enough to do this.
Feels like a weekend where
there's not
where your research comes up empty. You're like your research comes up. Leave it alone. But then like your leans, your early leans, it's almost one of those. It's like I feel like this weekend's like whatever my gut says I should go with, but my head's saying just lay off. And then after the games are played, you're like, see, my gut was right.
Right. Yeah, so it's going to be that week.
It feels like that kind of week. It's going to be like, Boy, I'm glad I didn't play this because I was way wrong.
Right.
I will make
True.
a slightly bold prediction. There's gonna be a blowout in one of these games.
It's possible.
I think
Absolutely.
one of these games is gonna be a blowout.
With the great offenses that are intact, yeah. If one offense sputters a bit and turns it over a couple times, and the other one scores a touchdown every time off those turnovers, yeah, you could absolutely see that.
I think there's going to be a 14-plus point victory on one of these games. Just figuring out which one.
A strong sports handicapper I know in both games likes the under in the first half and the over in the second half and over potentially in the game. He thinks that these offenses could both just blow out. It is not. It is not. But Koken might be on the same thing too. I don't know. I think they're they work together in a way. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of deal on that. And any of these teams get behind 2 or 3 scores, you know that they're easily able to ramp up and come back in a game like this. So it's kind of fascinating in regards to the total. But yeah, that's not my opinion. It's somebody else's. But yeah, it's sort of an interesting.
So now,
aspect.
as we get closer to the games, Token, how are you leaning? I know you got to make your official picks.
Yes.
Saturday night.
That's right.
I'm leaning Chiefs and Rams.
Are you needing a proxy again for this week?
If we're doing it Saturday night, I should be good. So
Okay, fair enough. Good.
All right, it's gonna be fun. All right, well let's put a pin in this one, wrap it up, and we will catch you on the next podcast. We appreciate you listening in. Catch us on our Twitter handle at Vegas Squares. We're also on Facebook, Vegas Squares, and of course our website is vegassquares.com. For Token Tony, for Tony Johnson, I am Aaron. We appreciate you again listening in. Thank 12 Ounce Sports Radio for putting our shit on, and we are out.